here. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to all our regular friends and people who come on our calls all the time. It's great to have you all here. Today, we're doing this very interesting SDG goal, which is SDG 9. I find this SDG to be very interesting and also maybe a bit confusing as it is. It's the SDG that pretty much is trying to do three things at the same time. So this SDG is a very interesting SDG because it is trying to do three things at the same time. So I find it to be very weird and interesting at the same time. So that's what we're going to be doing SDG 9. But before we continue, it would just be nice to get to know everybody in the chat room. So please, if you do not mind, just tell us your name and where do you work and what exactly are your expectations for this particular session. We have a representative from Lagos State that is going to be here with us on this call. Mr. Oyenuga is going to be representing the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure in Lagos State. So I don't know if he's on the call yet, but I'll try to get him on the call. But while we're doing that quickly, everybody, can I get to know from you what exactly, who are you, your name, your organization, and why are you here? Why are you here for this very weird SDG? This SDG is a very weird one. I think they put too many things into one place relative to this SDG. How can you have one SDG that will be doing industry development, doing innovation, and also doing infrastructure? I think it's a bit too much for one SDG as it is, but we will leave that to our debate in a short bit. So, but please let me hear from everybody. Everybody, let's go to the chat room if you don't mind. Everybody, please just tell me your name, your organization, and what exactly is your expectation. Mr. Tokunbo, Mr. Oyenuga is actually here. All right, so Mr. Oyenuga, thank you very much for being here. I will introduce you in a couple of minutes when I have completed my introduction. So I will introduce you maybe in another 10 minutes, 15 minutes thereabout. So everybody, once again, can I get to know you, your name, your organization, and why are you here for this interesting SDG? Thank you very much, Mr. Tokunbo. I appreciate you, sir. Bumi Ashaolu, thank you. Organization, Emmanuel Alkali, thank you very much. It's great to have you here. We wish when we have these meetings that we'll also have people from the federal. But you know, sometimes we write emails to and letters to these to the agencies, but sometimes we don't quickly get feedback or responses from them. But a big thank you to Lagos State. Lagos State, this is like the third or the fourth time that Lagos State will always answer us. They would always send somebody to come in to speak to the SDGs that we're doing. So can I get from others, please? Thank you very much, Jamil. Thank you. Samuel, it's great to have you here. Uzuma Imo, it's great to have you here. Mr. Godwin, good afternoon, sir. It's great to have you here. All right. Who else is here? Please share everybody. All right. So today we're going to focus primarily, as I said, who else is here? You know, one of the things I have said is that I think this SDG is a bit too much, like three things. So who are those that agree with me? Share your thoughts and your opinion with me. Is it possible? I mean, why did they put these three things together? These are three massive things that they put together. So for example, we invited Lagos State. They used to call them MOST, but they've changed their name to Ministry of Innovation, Science and Tech, right? I think they're now called MIST, I think. We invited them, but I don't think they were able to, not that I don't think, they were not able to quickly confirm somebody being here. Now, so if you look at it, in Lagos State is dealing with innovation under science and tech. Now, we also then invited the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, and that is what Mr. Oyenuga is here to speak about. And that's completely different from science and innovation, science and technology. When you also then come to industry development, that is a completely different ball game, because economic planning and some of the other government institutions are the ones that are directly driving that. So share your thoughts with me quickly, everybody in the chat room. Why do we have these three eyes together? Should these three eyes, should they be even be together in the first instance? These three eyes, should they even be together? Let me hear from some people. All right. I know I've not introduced our organization. We're A4S, and one of our business lines is around sustainability. So since last year, we've been doing different webinars just to bring a lot of awareness to the SDG goals. So right now we're on SDG 9. We have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're on 9. We're already getting ready for 10, which is going to be happening in the month of May. All right, so we're already getting ready for the various types of inequalities that happen, which is going to be happening in the month of May, about a month from now. So that's who we are. You can follow us on YouTube. All the key things that we all our webinars are on YouTube. So I'm sure the team, they will share a lot of these things in the chat room. So let me hear from all of you, please, quickly. Everybody, why these three? Why did the United Nations combine these three things together? Industry is a big deal on its own. Developing non-existent or industries that are doing very badly. I was taking a class, and I think that class is also online some weeks ago when we were doing SDG primarily for women or for females, and I was telling them that the wrestling industry in the US, for example, is a big industry. Wrestling, like, it's a contributor to the GDP of the country. But if you come to Africa, what is wrestling? If you can't tell your parents that you want to go into wrestling, they will just chase you away, right? They'll say that this is a waste of money. But outside, in other places, industry development, like wrestling as an industry. I was also thinking about another industry recently. You know, some weird industries that are big contributors to the GDP. But those industries in Nigeria, in Ghana, they're almost non-existent. Those industries in Nigeria and Ghana, they're almost non-existent, while in other places they're big. Now, industry conversation is a big conversation. A different conversation is around innovation. Maybe in another edition, we will partner with the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology in Lagos State again. As I said, we invited them. We thought they would be here. So the idea was that maybe Mr. Oyenuga will probably speak for 30 minutes and then somebody from MIS. But since they were not here, all of us were going to bring all our questions to Mr. Oyenuga today. We're going to ask him, Mr. Oyenuga, why is the road of my own estate, why is the road not good? Maybe Mr. Oyenuga will educate us about the federal roads, the non-federal roads, the roads that should be maintained by the state government and things like that. Maybe you will educate us. It would also tell us about the great things that Lagos State has been doing relative to infrastructure development. So once again, but I want to hear from somebody. Why do you think these three things? Come on, can people answer me in the chat room, please? Please, can people answer me in the chat room, please? All right, why do you think they put these three things? Shouldn't they have separated them? Edna, tell me. Jonathan, tell me. Adiola, Mr. Abdurrahman, please come into the chat room. Amina, why? Why are these three big things together? I would just like to hear from one or two people, and then I can bring in Mr. Oyenuga, who is from the Lagos State Ministry of Work and Infrastructure. We can bring all our questions to him. He'll tell us the great things, as I said, that Lagos State has been doing to make life easy and life much more comfortable for its residents. He'll tell us that in a couple of minutes. But once again, I just want to hear from everybody. I just want to hear from anybody. Why do you think they put these things together? All right, Abdurrahman, you can tell us. All right, Oluwatomi, you can tell us. Anybody, why do you think? Will you recommend that they should split them in the future? In the future, will you recommend that these three key things that they put under Goal 9, that they should split them, they should put them into different buckets in the future? Can I hear from somebody, Samuel, anybody at all? Anybody? Can anybody come to the chat room? Emmanuel, Akali, Jamil, everybody, before we bring in all right, thank you very much, Faith, right? Yes, but innovation is different. Maybe Mr. Oyenuga will also give us his own thoughts when he comes and when he starts. Maybe he'll also give us his own thoughts. Jonathan also said that science and Nigeria determines the direction of economics. Okay, okay. Shaolu also says, Bumi, because the face of rapidly changing economic landscape, increasing the cost must include industrialization, economic growth. Okay, okay, okay. Romosele says the three of them all linked to each other. Okay, okay. Well, okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Let me quickly share my screen in 1 minute, and then we'll bring our big boss here. So this is where the world is meant to be going to in the next couple of years, right? So please, Oyinkan and Philip, please share our websites and our YouTube link so that people can follow and watch some of the other ones that we have had. So if you look at where Goal 9 is meant to be going in the year 2030, which is just 5 years down the line, this is what they're hoping Goal 9 will be about. Once again, 9 has many things inside of it. So Yenuga, I mean, is definitely going to be focused on number 1, a resilient infrastructure within Lagos State. He's not going to be looking at it from the country perspective. He's going to look at it from Nigeria's perspective, right? So you will talk to us about that. So, but of course, there are many other things that are here: sustainable industrialization, access to so. But that's because this goal is a 3-in-1 goal. Goal 9 is 3-in-1. So this is Lagos State. This is Lagos State Ministry of Works. These are the kinds of things that I know that they're doing or are meant to be doing. So, Mr. Yenuga, I mean, you can either present or you can just speak to some of these things and you can cite examples. All of us are going to be taking notes, and the people have even during registration, they brought a lot of questions for you. I hope you are ready, sir. I hope you're very ready for all of us, because we all have questions for you today, since you are the representative of the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure in Lagos State. So you can speak about some of the projects, some of the great initiatives, especially the recent ones, the ones that have happened over the last 2-3 years will be great. Roads, bridges, public buildings. I didn't even know that even the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure also has any business with sporting and cultural and recreational facilities. I didn't know that. I saw this online. So I don't know whether it's true that it's also part of your remit as the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. So once again, we're all happy and excited to have you here, sir. Thank you very much for being here. When we also do this, people have access to recordings even after now. I also saw this online. So these are the kinds of things that I know that you're doing as the ministry in Lagos State. You're working on roads, on bridges, you're building new ones, you're rehabilitating existing ones, you're constructing buildings, you're doing all sorts. You're definitely doing all sorts. So this, I'm sure, gives you some kind of outline that you can use in speaking to all of us. And then would also then bring out questions. So I'll tell you about the present, and I'm sure he can also even tell us about the future relative to Lagos State and what they're doing around works and infrastructure. So everybody, please welcome with me Mr. Olutokunbo Oyenuga as he will speak to us about what Lagos State is doing to make life better and much more comfortable for its residents. So once again, a round of applause in the chat room. Mr. Tokunbo Oyenuga, over to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Odejide. A very good afternoon to all of us. It's good to be with you, representing the Lagos State government through the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. So I will speak to most of the points you have raised now. And of course, I know there'll be lots of questions to be answered. Why is that so? Primarily because we go through the roads and bridges to move around wherever we are. So on behalf of the Special Advisor, Office of Infrastructure, and the Permanent Secretary, who actually should be with us, but is on assignment now with the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources to address some challenges we have at Lagos Island in terms of ongoing projects and flooding challenges there. I'm sure if he's able, he will still join in online to say a few words. So, industry, innovation, infrastructure, SDG 9. I listened to your intro and I agree with you. There are three big I's involved in that, and they are all interwoven. They look big, but by the time you break it down into pockets, you can now concentrate particularly on your sector to answer the questions you are asking. So briefly, let me tell you about the Lagos State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. It's a ministry with two offices, as you must have imagined. We have the Office of Works and the Office of Infrastructure. And both have political leaders, the Special Advisor, Office of Infrastructure, and the Special Advisor, Office of Works. In the same vein, we have two permanent secretaries there. But I will speak briefly to their respective duties. The Office of Works deals mainly with the public buildings, because that is where you have the architects, the mechanical engineers, the electrical engineers, the telecoms engineers, the quantity surveyors, the builders, and allied professions. Whereas the Office of Infrastructure basically deals with the civil engineering aspects of infrastructure in terms of roads, highways, and bridges. We delve into jetties, shoreline protection, but over the years, we have other agencies that particularly deal with such. like the Ministry of Waterfront Development, they handle dredging activities, establishment of jetties, dredging of water bodies and all that. We also have the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. They deal with sand mining control and regulations. They deal with the electrical and power systems. They also deal with the street lights across the state. We have the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources. There also we have two offices, the Office of Environmental Services and the Office of Drainage Services and Water Resources. But the Office of Infrastructure is the parent ministry of all civil engineers in the employment of Lagos State. So this is where we all take off from as civil engineers. Coming to the presentation, well, I have looked closely at the SDG 9 and what has been identified as challenges, as solutions, as problems. But one thing I need to add, in the Office of Infrastructure, we have civil engineers, structural engineers, and we have a department called the Project Planning, Research and Design Department. There we have a combination of civil and structural engineers. And that department acts as a consultant to all other ministries, departments, and agencies of government. So whenever there are projects to be executed, they act as consultants. So the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, as part of its mandate, acts as a consultant to all other MDAs. So all projects that warrant engineering practice are referred to this ministry for sign-off before they are awarded and procured for execution. So keep that at the back of our mind. So let me go into the little notes I have here as it relates to basically infrastructure statewide. As you all know, we have roads and bridges as the basic requirements we have in most areas as the means of moving from one location to the other. In Lagos, we have always worked towards having an intermodal transportation system. So we relate closely with the Ministry of Transportation and agencies under that ministry in delivering such infrastructure. We have the rail lines. I'm sure most of us have heard of the Blue Line from Mile 2 to Marina. We've heard of the Red Line from Agbado to Ido and Marina connection. And of course, I'm sure we have also heard of the Green Line, which is in the pipeline for commencement of physical construction on site, aside from the extension of the Blue Line from Mile 2 towards Okokomaiko. I'm sure we also know the Lagos ferry services. We are aware of the Lagos Waterways Authority. And we have jetties across the state. So you have the opportunity of using different modes to move around in Lagos now. And definitely that will be expanded on a continuous basis. When we look at SDG 9, the major challenges that come out most times are environmental sustainability, issues of inequalities, the impact of global crisis, and the preferred solutions include greening industrial processes, promoting innovations and skills development, and of course, equitable access to infrastructure and technology. But I will zero in on infrastructure as is the main purview of this office, the Office of Infrastructure. By virtue of we constructing roads, we have impacts on the environment. And the environmentalists will call it environmental degradation. But the engineer will tell you it's a necessity to have options for the teeming population in Lagos. When you have a population of over 22 million going towards 25, need to move around in the smallest state in the federation, but with the highest population. So that speaks to interfaces we have with environmentalists. But as is standard international best practices, all major projects have EIA, ESIA reports attached to them. And of course, the issues of environmental degradation are addressed, social impacts are addressed, and mitigating measures are put in place and also implemented as part of the project. When we talk of the environment, we talk of resource extraction. If you build a road, you need to build up the pavement. You need sand. You need laterite in some cases. You need granite. You need cement. And all of these we get from the environment. To a large extent, dredging activities also impact on the environment. And when you want to establish a new alignment, then deforestation comes in. There are agencies of government that regulate all these activities of sand mining, dredging, as I said earlier. But we always collaborate with them where we have observations, where we have concerns. We'll let them know. So where they need to up their regulatory standards, they step in almost immediately. And those are basically the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure Development. When you have a large population as you do in Lagos, definitely we have need for more residential developments. And the designs majorly does what? It covers up the otherwise open earth surfaces that are supposed to take in part of the rain that fall. Populations get disrupted. So we have more water coming out from tenements, from premises, into the drains, towards getting to the nearest outfall. So it's a constant challenge as developments continue to come to Lagos, because nearly 60% of the population of Nigeria wants to come and live in Lagos, despite the smallness of the state. And that poses challenges. We have flooding challenges, and we have a lot of abuse of infrastructure. I will get into those details later. When we talk of inequalities or inequity in the distribution of infrastructure, it's subjective. It depends on where you are and where you visit constantly. Access to basic infrastructure. And the first point of call is the road to the average residents. And of course, funding is limited. Despite the state allocating up to 25% of the capital budget to physical development across the state, the gap is still there. So we have to be innovative in getting projects to the teeming population. So how do we mitigate such fears of inequity? As far back as 2003, 2007, the policy in this office has been even distribution of projects across the state. For those that are familiar with Lagos in recent times, as close as between December 2024 and up until, let's say, early March, Mr. Governor has been going around commissioning completed projects. And I'm sure those that have followed the train will have seen him going to different parts of Lagos. If we are not done yet, we still have more yet to be commissioned, ready for Mr. Governor. So the spread has been a deliberate policy of this office as directed by the Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the supervision of the Deputy Governor, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, who actually supervises the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, despite being the Deputy Governor of the state. So it's a deliberate policy to have that spread right from the procurement stage to ensure even development of infrastructure across the state. We break it down into the 5 divisions. We further break it down to the 57 local government and local across the state. And in some instances, we will go down to the ward level. If a particular ward has benefited, at the next opportunity, we go another ward just to ensure interconnectivity for people to move around. And of course, we all know that the roads and bridges we provide are assets. And my colleagues in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, they have all these records and they translate it to data the economists, the financial gurus will understand. Whereas My own primary assignment is to build the roads and bridges. So that is the essence of governance. Do your bit for others to generate the data for use. Addressing inequities, as I mentioned earlier, for those that are familiar with roads in Lagos, you will observe that there are specific major arterials that receive constant attention just to make sure they are rideable all season. It's not as if there's concentration on a particular community or a particular class. All tend to categorize ourselves, but governance speaks to being there for everybody. Everybody should feel the dividends of democracy, as we say. And at each level, this continuous intervention is consistent. A good example I will give you is coming from Alimosho and you're heading to Lagos Island, Victoria Island. Coming from Badagry into Lagos. Coming from even the places beyond the Fakojaye, Ojokoro, into Ogun State on that side, even through Ojojubaja from Ogun State, you will see that the intervention are always prompt to ensure a resilient pavement. And to ensure this, we go as far as even having hybrid pavements as part of our innovation strides. Areas that are prone to repeated failure, possibly arising from high water table or persistent bad habits of people around there to clog up the drains. And we all know asphalt and water don't go together. In such areas, I'm sure you'll have observed, we've introduced paving stones that are more resilient to water as a stopgap to ensure vehicles move rapidly. Once there's a slowdown, you see people having loss of productive hours in traffic. So investment in resilient infrastructure has been a deliberate policy of the state. If you look at certain areas of Lagos, like the Victoria Island, Lagos Island, that are clear with high water table, most all the recent pavements that have been done there were done with paving stones. And to ensure resilience, we increased deliberately the compressive strength of the stones. Previously, we were working with 30, 35 MPa, but we deliberately increased it to 45. So we have a resilient pavement in place. I must add that most of this intervention to keep the pavement working constantly are being done by our agency under this office, the Public Works Corporation, that are familiar with Lagos TV, those that are on X, You will see them display their schedule for daily and night operations. So you have an idea of where they are going to work at any particular point in time. And that C2 has acquired 2 paving stones making machine to ensure we have the stones available as when needed. And that will save costs of purchase from other proponents to government. And I'm sure with the volume expected from the 2 machines, the government too can go commercial and supply quality stones for private developers. When you talk of resilient pavement, you know Lagos State, by being a former federal capital, we have a lot of roads that are deemed to be federal roads. They were constructed by the federal government then. But most times we have to step in before Abuja sends any team here. We step in and do some remedial measures to keep people free of slowdowns on the carriageway. Though it is classed as federal, we have a lot of them in Apapa coming into the mainland from Apapa, Ijora Causeway, all the way Eko Bridge, Tata Bridge, Apapa, Orunshoki Expressway, Korodu Road. You will see, though they are tagged federal roads, you still see the Public Works Corporation including it in their schedule where there are failures so that we can quickly arrest before there is total failure of that particular pavement. Mitigation of environmental degradation. There are certain projects we can all see across Lagos now. A typical one is one close to us, for those of us that are familiar with Ikeja, the Okpebi-Mende Link Bridge. It's a transportation infrastructure solution problem. And that is part of the mandate of this ministry. We have to open up new routes to ensure distribution of traffic, accumulate and sustain the traffic volume comfortably and reduce the stress to people, reduce journey times. Now, on Okpebi-Mende, we have interface with the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, specifically the Office of Drainage Services and Water Resources. Odoyalaro is a major system for discharge of stormwater into the lagoon. So there was a lot of collaboration with Ministry of Environment in what is happening there. Despite the challenge of having to disrupt the ecosystem slightly there, but the plan is to leave the open spaces as a park for light landscape. And very soon, we will see that happen in the next few weeks. So it's a combination of having freedom to move and at the same time protecting the environment. So the Office of Drainage Services is channelizing that Odoyalaro corridor now, and that will ensure faster flow across whenever there's storm from rainfall. On the Lekki corridor, we have the regional road there being a totally new alignment. So to provide a parallel connection between VGC to connect Freedom Way. So there will be less burden on the Etiosa-Lekki-Epe Expressway. And that will be less time for the teeming population there, because that particular corridor is the fastest growing corridor in the West African sub-region. The growth is still going on, because if you go further down into Ibeju-Lekki, where you have the free zone, where a lot of industries are coming up, we have the Dangote refinery, we have the Dangote fertilizer, and we have the tank farms already springing up there. So you can have a feel of what it needs to have a resilient infrastructure. If you look at the volume of trucks plying that route, is what led to what we have there. As from Ekpeti Junction up until Ibrahim Adesoya as we speak, we have a concrete pavement recognizing the volume of trucks with their heavy axles that will ply in that route. In the same vein, another new alignment is in focus now at the Dangote refinery end, the 7th Axial Road that will take you from there into the Shagam-Benin Expressway. So it's a continuous work in progress for Lagos State. And in terms of innovation, I've mentioned the paving stones. We increased the compressive strength to 45 minimum for all roads in Lagos. I've mentioned the hybrid pavement finishes that has been adopted. And on the side, our maintenance agency, the Public Works Corporation, for those that are observant enough and engineering bias, there are some sections of the road that we use cold mix asphalt to repair, especially during the wet season. It's all part of the strategy to have a resilient pavement across the state. And for those that are also very observant, particularly the roads that were commissioned by Mr. Governor between December last year and March, all the facilities for lighting there are solar powered. All the street lights we have there are solar powered street lights. So the issue of burning diesel for generators to power them is gradually being phased out. And the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources are going to come up with a schedule to gradually phase out the conventional streetlights with power generating sets. But from our end here, all the roads being completed and commissioned now are all powered with solar powered streetlights. And once we have streetlights, security is improved, the economy is enhanced. And in some areas, the economy has transformed from a 12-hour to a 24-hour business, while some are closing after a day's work. Some are resuming for the night shift. And that means more mobility in terms of economic power to the people, aside from the attendant security. Where there's light, darkness can't be found. In terms of collaboration with the federal government, so it varies from whether it's the Federal Ministry of Works, and there are sister agencies that have projects being executed in Lagos. We have a system in place where we interface with them. We have an idea of what they want to do, when they want to do it, so that we don't clog up the metropolis of Lagos. Lagos is virtually a construction zone now. And as we speak, I'm aware there are up to 4 locations where traffic is being diverted on account of. And for that, we act as liaison between them and the Ministry of Transportation, so that a robust traffic management plan are enforced on federal projects across the state. The recent incident at Independence Bridge speaks to the fact that we need to always enforce traffic management plans whenever there will be closures within the transportation system. And of course, historically, the repair works that had been done on the Third Mainland Bridge over the years are all from direct collaboration with the federal government. In terms of public-private partnerships in the provision of infrastructure.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Let me give an introduction to the questions. But what we did, because we're also mindful of your time, and of course, we know that some people want to go for prayers and all that on Friday. What we did was that we put together the questions that a lot of people were asking. Some you've already answered. We also, for everybody that is on the call, we have taken out the questions that are very much about economic development, industry development, and core innovation from science and tech. I know a lot of people came for, they wanted to listen to that, but we're going to have that session another time, and we'll bring everybody in to know what Lagos State is doing. But if I can go through this, number 1, I think is clear. This number 2, somebody asked, number 3. And once again, you've dealt with some of them. The one that the one I added is is number 9. Number 1, the MOWI website is not up as at today. And like every other ministry that we liaise with in Lagos State, all of you are doing way more than you are communicating. Like what you are doing, all these big things that you're talking about, we the citizens or the residents of the state, we don't really have any visibility, apart from maybe if we go past a particular road, but blue line, if we don't know all that. So maybe you address that when you get to number 9. I also have listened to one of the former governors talking about benchmarking. So I wanted to know, from a road development perspective, what are you doing for benchmarking? And some of our colleagues, our office is in both the Nigeria and Ghana. Some of our colleagues are in Accra listening here. So I wanted you to tell them, maybe if there is any if there is anything you can. I know they have about 20% of the population of Lagos State, if not only 10% actually. So yeah, so you can quickly go through these questions, and you can skip the ones that you've already spoken to. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I will be short and direct now. Okay, how can PPP support SDG 9? Well, in Lagos, we have a good rapport with the private sector. And within this office, we have what we call private intervention in public infrastructure, PIIP. And what that does is to encourage corporate bodies to upgrade a road, reconstruct a road, and it's been on for years. A very good example is Ajose Adeogun by Zenith Bank and VI. You have the Oniru network close to Radisson Blue by Access Bank. Access has also worked on Mayegun, Silverbird, Axis. Zenith is also on Alpha Beach. And as recent as 2 weeks ago, May 1 came in with a desire to work on a road off Ogombo Road to their academy. So Lagos is open to innovative ideas, intervention. Even other MDAs, we have people adopting roundabouts for landscaping. You have people adopting schools for maintenance purposes. So it's standard practice to involve the private sector. And that is something Ghana can take from Lagos. Number two, I think I've touched on that in terms of distribution of projects.
Yes, you have.
Key infrastructure gaps.
You said you work closely with yeah, and I think you have talked on number two. Yes, please go ahead, sir. Thank you, sir.
So key infrastructure gaps hinder economic development. I agree with that. But what you require to provide infrastructure is funding. Funding is always limited. So we have to be innovative and deliberate. I'll give you a good example. Most of the projects we are commissioning between December and now were ongoing pre-COVID. Post-COVID challenges came up. Inflation began to bite very hard. The contractor said they couldn't cope. So Mr. Governor had to sit back, put on his thinking cap again. How do I fund and beat inflation? So there was an arrangement to review based on what has happened to prices of construction materials and all that, and agree with the contractor. I will pay you 70% of this amount of outstanding work. You take it and take that and complete the project, just to beat the galloping inflation at that period. And that is what translated to all the roads that have been completed in the last 8-9 months. So how can we balance industrial growth with environmental sustainability in developing regions? Well, when you work with the environmentalists, the social experts, you must strike a balance. You give me a little space, I give you an infrastructure for economic development. I will balance it with adequate environmental mitigating measures so that we don't disrupt more than necessary. 5, how can sustainability be promoted in underdeveloped states and other developing countries? Well, we have to be futuristic in our planning. Once you have a well-planned environment, it's easy for the engineers, all fields of engineering, to project what the infrastructure need will be. It cannot be phased for development. Some might happen as corrective, but majority should now be futuristic, anticipate, and control and regulate the volume of development. So people don't concentrate in one area as against the others. Best practice is worldwide. We have seen
So
those that have done it.
So I was going to ask you, sir, is there like a, so if other states, I mean, I know that a lot of states come to Lagos State to come to learn from you and
Yes.
all that. Is there like international best practice for works, for infrastructure development, for road development and things like that? For some of the people on this call, they all want to be great engineers like you. So where can they lean on to be able to get decent practice, especially with roads and all those other things you've spoken about today?
Yeah. Well, we have a document that is always constantly worked on, what we call the standard operating procedures. And what that does is, for every project, we look at the peculiarity of the experience we have gathered there. And we now look at where we need to upgrade specific areas of the operating manual. So it's a continuous work in progress. It's not as if you finish and forget about it. You finish and learn from obvious areas where could have been done better. So we have a live interaction on that constantly. And in terms of innovation, what we have done in very recent past, I can say for upwards of 15, 20 years now, all the roads being constructed have what we call the service ducts. And those are where you can slot in your telecoms cables in preparation for the smart city, as we call it. It's not as if it is when you come with the innovation that you need to start breaking the roads again. Some classes of road, you have up to 8 bank of ducts. We have 6 on some classes, and we have 4 in most of the residential areas where we are doing new road infrastructure. And there's an agency of government that's championed a deliberate policy to have fiber optic lines across the state. Those are the ones you see with the multicolors then going around Lagos. So you have quite a distance in place now in anticipation of future use. And that is another one Accra can take away from Lagos. Why do roads keep getting fixed and being destroyed frequently in Lagos State? It's part of the pains of the population we carry.
Okay, sir. So, sir, because once again, a couple of people have brought that to us, saying that, that they will fix it, that in those days. So maybe you will shed some light. They say in those days,
in those days,
15, 20 years ago, the
yes,
roads, when they fix it, to stay fixed for a long time. But now,
yes,
the roads, they will fix it last year, and then this year it will be destroyed. Why?
Yes. The primary reasons the roads get destroyed in Lagos, the primary, and that carries a lot of weight. We misuse the drains. Once the drains are clogged up, you retain water on asphalt, it will fail. That is the major reason. Government has expended a lot in having TSP operators across the state. But those that don't want to pay for the service dump waste in the drains and on the road. That is the primary reason. Number 2, we have a lot of vehicles that are overloaded. If you design a road for a particular weight and you are having it take 1.5 times, 2 times that weight constantly, it will fail. Number 3, once a road is done, it's supposed to be the primary responsibility of everybody to protect that infrastructure. Even as a government official, if I come there and I start digging up a finished road, they should stop me. It's proof that I am doing a legitimate job. Because we have roads with ducts there, but you still see people digging up, saying they want to run a cable from one house to the other, whereas there are ducts for such purposes. And once you disturb the pavement, we begin to lose it once water gets in there. If it's a paved road with paving stones, once you remove one, the interlocking system will fail. Gradually, you lose the sand bed that is holding it up, and the failure will be beyond imagination because of the volume of traffic that ply virtually all the roads in Lagos. You can do a count, do a small study, take account of the number of vehicles going in front of you while waiting at the bus stop. Then you have an idea of what it will be at the end of the day. So it's not as if it's the quality of work that has been done in such repair. It's more of road abuse by residents. And we have a whole gamut of report on that. Some go to the extent of, for example, we have Lagos Badagry, for example. We have concrete cover on the drains to serve as walkway. People go there to break it up, looking for the reinforcements. People go to the extent of breaking the drain entirely because they want to go and sell the reinforcements in it, not minding the challenge it will pose to the road infrastructure. So those are things we all should participate in protecting the infrastructure that has been provided. On the website, well, I will go back to Ministry of Innovation.
Yes, please take
Science
that
and Tech.
feedback to them. The website is not even up right now at all.
I will confirm maybe they are having an upgrade or they are trying to input new materials there, but it's basically their purview in MIST to keep it up and running. I will relate with them as soon as we finish this call. Benchmarking Lagos with cities globally. Well, we have to break it down to do that comfortably. Particular aspects are you looking at? Is it in terms of
maybe the way roads are also being constructed and maintained in other locations around the world, maybe like in Dubai or in any other place?
Yes.
Do you ever do such benchmarking activities where you compare your own practices, your own approach in Lagos State with what is being done in other parts of the world?
The practices are standard across the world.
All right.
You work day or you work night.
Right.
Working at night in Lagos will require a lot of support services. And once you begin to attract support services, the cost will go up. The funding is limited. We want to provide it. So we have to strike a balance. We have a lot of activities that happen during the night. As I said earlier, the Public Works Corporation that handles most of the maintenance works. If you go to Lagos Television, if you follow them on X, you see their schedule. It's stated there, daytime, night activity, the silting of trains. They spell it out there where they are visiting. on a daily basis. That is in line with best practices across the world. There are some routes you dare not step on during the day. It's going to clog up everywhere. But it depends on the quantity and the category of repair works to be done. If it is extensive and cannot be achieved overnight, and you know the spread of the work will determine how long it will take. If you need to open up to a foot, 2 feet, that takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of material. And if it is extensive, it will be difficult to say you want to fix that overnight and reinstate before people wake up. But what they try to do is to intervene while the problem is still minute. So they can quickly go in, work, and move out by 4 a.m. Because from 4 a.m., people are already on the road. There are some areas, if you don't leave that location by 4:30, there will be a problem that day because of the movement towards the commercial center of Lagos Island, Victoria Island, and Lekki. So the peculiarity of Lagos should also be considered. We are limited by the land space, we are limited by the network. That is why in some areas where it is possible, new alignments are coming up. Mende is a new alignment. We did a bridge in Ifakojayi, Abiola Onijemo, just to connect communities and encourage traffic redistribution. We worked in Alimosho, the Obafemi Dada Shalom Academy. They have a 200-meter bridge across the swamp there. It was one of those commissioned by Mr. Governor. So we open up new areas with just such a bridge connections. When you now come to abuse, imagine finishing such a road and the residents there that are asking questions now end up putting gates there. You can't pass through there from 7 p.m. What's the purpose of the interconnectivity? So such gates end up being removed by the Ministry of Transportation because mobility of people is very, very important, as well as safety of lives and properties. Areas where once we finish, the security agencies man such locations out of fear expressed by residents. A good one is the one we did at Sholui, Bagada, to connect the underpass of the entire community and connected to that underpass. So once the fears were being expressed, at the end of the day, we have RRS stationed under the bridge there just to encourage that government is responsive and the security challenges were eliminated. And up until now, after like close to 3 years now, there's been no record of any security lapse there, despite the opening of that area to other parts of the community. So it's a continuous work in progress for Lagos State.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much for addressing these things. We wish you had notes that we can even come to your office and collect the notes and type it out and share it with everybody.
Okay. I will try and work on something.
Yes, that would be great. The entire community will be extremely glad because you have said a lot of things today. Unfortunately, the website is not up. We can't go to get some of these things.
I'll get across to Mist.
Yeah, so thank you very much for your time, sir. We've taken a lot of the questions, and that's why so that we won't take too much time, and that's why we've done this. So we really appreciate your time. We will definitely come to you office, we'll come and request that you give us your notes or at least give us some public information. Maybe there's some
Okay.
public information that is available. Maybe there's some bulletins or some, I don't know what those things are. So, for
We have.
example, where
We
can I
have.
find information about the blue and green
Yeah.
things? Where is the definitive place where I can find that information? Right?
Okay.
Because some of that information is public, but we can't find
They
it.
are. They are. They are public. They are public. I'll find out what happened to the website from Mist. The blue lines, the red lines, the orange line, the purple line, they're all on the website of Lamata and Ministry of Transportation. They have a lot of, you can go through, I will check now. If the website of Lagos State is up or it's part of what they are upgrading,
The general
you
web
can,
is the one that now links us and takes us
yes,
specifically to MOE,
yes, yes.
where we can now see mandate, activities,
Mm,
roadmap, progress, and those
mm,
kinds of things. Is that one
mm.
that is not up?
Okay. I'll
Right.
find out what happened.
Once again, a big thank you to you, sir. I know, I mean, up to the 11, 12, 12 11 p.m. yesterday night, we were still discussing about your availability to be here, even around 5 o'clock this morning. So thank you
Mm.
very much for taking the time
We
out to
thank
be
God.
here.
We thank God.
We'll put some
My,
of we also have our own AI notes from the things that you have said. So we'll share
my
them with the
pleasure.
community and
Okay.
we'll to come to your office to liaise with you for further sessions around this. So once again, everybody, a big thank you to Soisa for the great work that he has done here. This is not textbook. He hasn't come to read a textbook to us. He has come to tell us the from a should I say from a practitioner's perspective, what exactly is
Mm.
happening where Lagos State is as of today. And we're grateful to you, sir, for all that. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. We will have another session with the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. I spoke with Mr. Shongbe. He was going to speak with somebody else, but it just didn't happen as it is. So, but we will organize that to see because a lot of people have questions around a lot of people have questions around innovation and how the government is supporting that. So we will do that session once we get green light from Lagos State in themselves. So once again, thank you very much for your time. It's great to have all of you here. We will definitely see you on this same call sometime next month, where we're going to be doing something specifically on inequalities, the various types of inequalities, and hopefully we'll get somebody from the humanitarian center or the ministry or the MDA, both in Ghana and in Abuja, to send their people in to come to speak about this. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for your time. We appreciate you and have an excellent weekend. Thank you. Thank you, all, everyone. Oingo, is there any other thing? Thank you very much, everyone. Please, you can follow us on the YouTube link. They dropped the link in the chat room before. So you can follow us. You will see the historical ones, the older versions of this that we have done so that you can listen to them. Once again, thank you, everyone.